Welcome to PHOTONewsTV. I'm your host Will, and this is the last in a series on the Metz BL400 and BL200 studio kits. We've talked about features, setup, how to sync them to your camera, some of the different accessories that are available, some troubleshooting tips, and now we're going to kind of finish things off with some shooting scenarios. So I'm going to show you how to use the Metz Studio lights to be able to create some different things in studio, just a little inspiration to get you moving. And by the end of this, hopefully once you've got your kits, you're able to start shooting and feel a little more comfortable with the entire process. Remember, you can always leave comments down below and questions. You can also email me, info@metzflash.ca. Here's the address right here. Shoot me an email if you've got anything specific that you need help with. If you're in Canada, you can also reach me on Facebook as well. Metz Flash Canada is on Facebook. So let's get right into this. I've got my gear ready to go, and we're going to start shooting. Alright, so I'm going to look at a few different shooting scenarios, and I'm going to focus right now on the 400 kit with the two soft boxes. A lot of questions I get are around how do I set them up, what settings do I use on the Metz units, and what settings do I use on camera. The first thing you have to know is that these strobes do not communicate to the camera. It's not like your speed light where your camera and your speed light and everything knows what's going on. None of these systems work together, so you've got to run your camera in full manual. So I normally set my camera to the lowest native ISO, so the lowest number. If your camera has ISO 100 or 200 or 64, that's where I set it. If your camera has a ISO low 1, low 2, skip the low settings, just go to the lowest physical number on your ISO setting, is where I like to start with studio strobes. The lower your ISO, the less noise. The cleaner and sharper your images. And that's one of the big reasons for going with strobe, is to get nice, clean, sharp images. So I always start there. The next thing that I do is shutter speed. Now, depending on your camera, some cameras you can shoot at 1/200th of a second, 1/250th of a second, and everything syncs properly. Some cameras are as low as 1/125th or 1/160th of a second, and there's an easy way to tell. If you start to see a black band across the bottom of your frame like this, then your shutter speed's too fast. So that's an easy fix. Dial your shutter speed down a little bit, take another shot. If the black bar is gone, you're good to go. Just as a general rule, most of the higher end cameras are usually 1/250th of a second. So you've got ISO and you've got shutter speed. So there's the 2 points of your exposure triangle. Now you've got aperture at the top, and that's where adjusting your lights comes in handy. Now I'm not going to talk about light theory with hard light and soft light and distance and how that affects everything. That's for a future episode. This is just to get you started with your Metz strobe. So where I generally like to start, let's go equal distance, equal height from our subject, and we're going to start with equal power. And right now I've got these set at 3, and that means that I'm going to get a fairly flat light because both lights are outputting the same amount. So here's the results with equal power. Now I'm going to drop this light down to 1.5, so that's half as much light as this side, or a 2-to-1 ratio. So now I'm getting a nice bit of sculpting because I've got more light from one side than the other. It's creating some shadows, creating some interest. So I'm going to drop this one down again, and now I've got a 3-to-1 ratio, so you can see how this is providing just a little bit of light, and then my main light is creating something. So I've got all these shadows working now, so it's not just a flat portrait. A lot of photographers, when they first get into studio work, are really tempted to shoot everything flat, but you really want to start shaping your light a little bit. So light ratios are probably the easiest way when you're learning, is just adjusting your power up and down. So I'm going to drop this one more so I can get a 4-to-1 lighting ratio, which you can see is far more dramatic than the original shot. So here's all 4 together just so you can see them. And that's a great place to start. And the Metz strobes are pretty easy to use to get you to that point because you can read the display on the back. So I also am asked, how do I know how to set my camera for aperture based on all of these settings? And the easiest way is if you're using, here it is, a flash meter. Some of you might have one of these from back in the film days, and they were just an incident light meter, which your camera already has a phenomenal light meter built in. It's just not set up to be able to read the fast flash durations of strobe. So a flash meter can give me everything that I need. I set my ISO and my shutter speed, which right now is at ISO 100 and 1/250th of a second for this Nikon camera. Then I will, and this is the great thing about having the cactus here, it's got the test button to fire, so I can press my read button. I'm going to point the meter right back at my camera position and take a reading. So this is telling me that I should be shooting at f8 plus 2/10. So about f9, and I'm going to get a proper exposure on my shots. Now if I want to know light contribution, I can take a reading, point the dome at the main light here, and that's telling me I'm getting f16, just a hair under f16, and on this side I'm getting an f8. So that's two full stops pretty much difference between these two at these power settings. But the way I'm going to set my camera, so I point this back at the camera, take my reading. So if I set my camera at f8 and 2/3 or sorry 2/10 or f9, that's going to give me a proper overall exposure. So the light meter really saves a lot of time. There is, of course, the other way, and that's just firing off many shots on camera, trying to figure out exactly what you think your settings should be, and then you're relying on your histogram in the back of the display, and you're spending a lot of time just firing repeatedly, and looking and inspecting. The light meter is just like that. I can check this light, I can check that light, and then point it at my camera. I know exactly how to set everything, so one shot, and I've got it in the bag. So let's take a look and see what 1/250th and f9 does. Alright, so now I'm going to start adding in some of the add-on modifiers just so you can see the difference of what some of these things create. I'm going to leave my fill here with the softbox, but now I'm going to add on a beauty dish, and just for fun we're going to use, I've got the snoot set up with a clear gel. I don't want to color it. I'm just going to put an accent light down this side, and then I'm going to use the background reflector with a blue gel to be able to color the background. So you can see just how much dimension you can create just by adding lights and accessories. And I'll also show you each shot as I'm going, so you'll see the effect of each individual light. So let's get this set up here. Alright, so now I'm going to turn servo mode off on each light, and I'm going to move the cactus around and photograph Queenie just with each light so you can see the effect of each one. Alright, so this will be just the main light, which happens to be the beauty dish with the grid. And you can see that creates a really nice effect, just like that. Lots of detail on her face, really sculpts things. So now, let's move over to our fill light and see what kind of effect we're getting there. So just our fill is adding a little bit of light on the left side, but you'll also notice it's putting a bit of light onto the background. So now we'll move over to our background light. So there we go, nice silhouette. We're getting a little bit of light bouncing off of the gel back onto her neck and a little bit onto her forehead, but not enough that in the final shot I'm too concerned because the beauty dish is overpowering it. So now we're going to go to the accent light, and you'll see why I wanted to throw a snoot on here and aim this. This is coming right across and catching the back of her crown, and here's the exact details that that's adding in. So you can see it's catching a little bit of that earring and adding a bit of brightness to that, and we're catching just a sliver on the side of the face and on that crown. Now let's redo that shot. We'll put all of the lights back on. Now, and servo won't work with the snoot because it's not throwing enough light out there. Let's bring this back to the main light. And everything fires. All right, and here we go. There, and that's giving me the effect that I was after on this. It's a little bit of accent on the back of the crown, a little bit on that earring. So there's a nice sculptured portrait that I'm able to capture with two BL400s, two BL200s, and a couple of accessories. Now you can also use reflectors in place of a fill, so you could bring your, if you're trying to do this with two lights. The system's very, very flexible, and because it's almost a universal standard S-mount, so many companies use it now, that accessories are easy to find, even custom accessories. There are some amazing beauty dish reflectors with S-mount from other brands that you can certainly use on the Metz kit. The other advantage is if you happen to have some of those lighting systems with S-mount and you're looking to add some more lights, these are a very cost-effective solution to be able to add on to an existing kit. So that's just a quick sampling of some of the different things you can do shooting with one or two kits just to combine everything and create some new images. There's all kinds. It's just a wide world of photography. Once you've kind of got into these little baby steps here, now you can start going crazy. There's lots of things you can do out there. So I hope I've inspired you to use your kits now that you've got them, or to go out and purchase a Metz kit or two and start shooting in studio. They're great kits for the money, lots of wonderful features, and they're going to get you moving. So any questions, please let us know down below. Don't forget to click the like button and show us some love if you enjoyed this. And remember to subscribe. PHOTONews magazine is chock full of amazing content. We've got great writers from across Canada, even better photography, just stunning images every issue. So free, mailed to your home. Click the link and find out. If you're looking for a little more information too about how to learn more about photography in general, on the PHOTONews.ca website, we have a listing of camera clubs right from coast to coast. And on that page, you can find a camera club, hopefully near you. Join other like-minded individuals, and you may find people there that have studio gear that would love to teach you a little bit more. So take a look there, and there's also events listed on that page. So I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope I've inspired you, and I really hope that you have a great day. So happy shooting.